There's a sound most people never think about. An alarm clock at 6 a.m. For Peter, that sound feels like pressure, not noise. Pressure. He opens his eyes slowly, staring at the ceiling before the day even begins. No energy, no excitement, just calculation. Bills, debt, school fees. That text from the bank he still hasn't opened. And deep inside his chest, something tightens. Not enough to send him to the hospital, but enough to quietly steal his peace. Across town, Dave's alarm rings too. Same age, same economy, same rising prices, same responsibilities. But a completely different morning. Dave sits up calmly. He stretches, walks into the kitchen, turns on the coffee machine. The house is quiet, not tense quiet, peaceful quiet. And that difference matters more than most people realize, because two men can earn similar incomes and still live inside completely different emotional realities. One wakes up to a life he built, while the other wakes up to a life that owns him. If you've ever woken up at 3 a.m. with a racing mind, if you've ever pretended to smile while silently worrying about money, if you've ever felt embarrassed by your financial situation after 40, then stay with me, because this conversation is bigger than money. This is about financial stress after 40 and how it quietly damages mental health. Not dramatically, not loudly, but slowly, every single day. And if you're rebuilding your life quietly right now, this channel is for you. Something changes after 40. In your 20s, mistakes feel temporary. In your 30s, you still believe time will fix everything. But after 40, time starts to feel different, more serious, more honest. You stop thinking only about opportunity and start thinking about stability, protection, security, legacy, and when your finances feel unstable during this stage of life, your nervous system notices. That's the part people don't talk about enough. Financial stress is not just about numbers. It becomes physical, mental, emotional. It affects your sleep, your patience, your confidence, sometimes even your identity. The frightening part, most people experiencing financial anxiety after 40 are not irresponsible. They're ordinary, hardworking people. People who carried families, helped relatives, survived emergencies, made emotional decisions, trusted the wrong investments. People who kept telling themselves, "I'll figure it out later," until later arrived. Peter never imagined his life would feel this heavy. 10 years ago, he actually looked successful. Nice car, expensive watch, weekend outings. People respected him. Or, at least, he thought they did. But behind the scenes, his finances were fragile, and fragile things eventually crack under pressure. One afternoon, Peter stands inside a grocery store. Fluorescent lights above him. Cold air from the freezer section. His cart is modest. Bread, milk, eggs. Nothing luxurious. Just survival. He reaches the counter and inserts his card. Declined. The cashier pauses. Not rude, just waiting. But to Peter, that silence feels violent. Someone behind him exhales impatiently. A woman glances at her watch. Peter forces a nervous smile. Try it again. His voice sounds weaker than he intended. Second attempt. Approved. Relief should come, but it doesn't. Because the problem was never just the transaction. It was the humiliation, the fear, the realization that one bad month could expose everything. He walks out carrying the grocery bags, but emotionally, he leaves carrying shame. And the dangerous thing about shame is this. It rarely stays in one area of life. It spreads, quietly. That evening, Peter sits in his car outside his house for almost 15 minutes. Not because he forgot something, because he needs a moment before walking inside, a moment without expectations, a moment without pretending. Then his daughter opens the front door and runs toward him, smiling. Dad, that smile hurts him a little, not because he doesn't love her, but because he does, deeply. And love feels terrifying when you're financially unstable. At dinner, she says casually, Dad, I need new shoes for school. Simple sentence, normal request, but Peter feels his chest tighten instantly because his mind doesn't hear shoes. It hears expense, pressure, responsibility, failure. Okay, he says softly, we'll get them. But inside, panic is already growing. Not loud panic, the worst kind. Silent panic, the kind that smiles during dinner and suffers in private later. That night, Peter lies awake staring into darkness. 3:12 a.m. His wife is asleep beside him, but his mind is sprinting. What if I lose my job? What if an emergency happens? What if I've already failed my family? His heart beats faster, not enough to call an ambulance, but enough to remind him he hasn't truly relaxed in years. And this is where financial stress becomes dangerous, because eventually your body stops understanding the difference between financial danger and physical danger. The nervous system reacts the same way. Cortisol rises, sleep suffers, patience disappears, and suddenly small problems feel catastrophic. Peter starts avoiding things. Emails, unknown numbers, bank notifications, even the mailbox, because every unopened message feels like possible bad news. And slowly, he becomes emotionally unavailable, not intentionally, but survival mode changes people. He laughs less, talks less, dreams less. The terrifying part, nobody around him fully notices, because financially stressed adults become experts at acting normal. Now look at Dave. Dave is not a millionaire. That matters, because many people think peace only belongs to wealthy people. It doesn't. Dave simply built systems before emergencies arrived. One morning, Dave's car breaks down on the highway. Smoke from the engine. Tow truck. Mechanic bill. Unexpected. Expensive. Annoying, but not emotionally destructive. Dave listens calmly as the mechanic explains the cost. Then he pays for it. No shaking hands. No hidden panic. No silent spiral afterward. Not because the repair is cheap, because Dave prepared for uncertainty years ago, and preparation changes the emotional experience of adulthood. For Dave, problems are inconvenient. For Peter, problems feel life-threatening. That is the difference financial preparation creates. Dave still experiences stress, but his mind has breathing room, mental bandwidth, and that affects everything. He listens more carefully during conversations. He laughs more naturally. He notices small moments because his brain isn't trapped in survival mode every hour of the day. At dinner, Dave's son talks about wanting to learn guitar. Dave smiles. Let's look into it this weekend. Simple moment, but emotionally important because financial peace creates emotional presence. Later that night, Dave sleeps. Not perfectly. Nobody escapes life completely, but peacefully, because beneath his life, there's structure, a system, a foundation, and foundations matter more after 40 than appearances ever will. The difference between Peter and Dave is not intelligence. It's not luck either. It's architecture. The architecture of small daily choices repeated consistently over time. 10 years earlier, both men earned similar incomes. Both dreamed about success, but their decisions slowly separated their futures. Peter wanted visible success, a luxury SUV, designer clothes, impressive vacations, and honestly, people admired him for it. but admiration can become addictive, especially when you secretly feel insecure. So Peter kept upgrading appearances while neglecting stability, and every upgrade quietly increased pressure. Dave made less exciting choices. He bought a reliable used car, saved automatically every month, avoided get-rich-quick investments, built emergency savings slowly, quietly, boringly. But boring decisions often create beautiful lives later. That's something social media rarely teaches. Peter spent years chasing the appearance of success. Dave spent years building the infrastructure for peace. And eventually, the emotional consequences arrived. Here's something most people don't realize. Debt is not just financial. Debt is psychological. Every unpaid obligation occupies mental space. Every overdue balance whispers in the background of your thoughts. And over time, those whispers become exhaustion. So let me ask you something honestly. What financial thought follows you into bed at night? Retirement fear? Debt? Regret? The fear of starting over too late? Tell me in the comments. Because thousands of people watching this are carrying the exact same invisible weight. And sometimes healing begins when shame finally loses secrecy. Now, here's the hopeful part. Financial peace after 40 is still possible. Not overnight, not magically, but practically. First, face reality clearly. Know exactly where your money is going, not emotionally, factually, because vague finances create vague anxiety. Clarity reduces fear. Second, automate your future. Stop saving whatever remains. Most months, nothing remains. Pay your future self first. Even small, consistent savings retrain the nervous system toward stability. Third, eliminate high-interest debt aggressively, because high-interest debt behaves like emotional gravity. It keeps pulling your mind backward. Fourth, build what I call a peace fund, not just an emergency fund, a mental health fund. 6 months of breathing room changes how your entire body experiences life. Fifth, simplify investing. Most people lose money chasing excitement. Wealth after 40 is often built through patience, not adrenaline. Sixth, reduce lifestyle pressure. Not everything needs upgrading. Sometimes the most luxurious thing in the world is sleeping peacefully. Seventh, protect your family properly. Insurance, planning, preparation, because uncertainty becomes less terrifying when the people you love are protected. And now, the emotional side. Separate your self-worth from your financial status. A struggling bank account does not make you a failed human being. Next, write down your worst-case scenario. Seriously, most people suffer more from imagined catastrophe than realistic outcomes. Clarity weakens fear. And finally, talk to someone, your spouse, a trusted friend, a financial advisor, because silence intensifies financial anxiety. Conversation interrupts it. Life after 40 is not about perfection. It's about direction. That matters deeply, because many people watching this think they are behind. But behind compared to who? Social media, old classmates, neighbors pretending to be financially stable while secretly drowning? Peter is not hopeless. He's aware now, and awareness is powerful. Awareness is the moment rebuilding begins. Dave didn't build peace in one dramatic moment either. He built it quietly, choice by choice, month by month, year by year. And honestly, that's how most meaningful lives are built, quietly. Some people spend the second half of life chasing more money, while others spend it trying to recover the peace they lost chasing it. Never forget that, because eventually you realize the real flex after 40 is an appearance. It's calmness. It's sleeping peacefully. It's opening your banking app without fear. It's being emotionally present with your family. It's waking up without dread sitting on your chest. That is wealth too, real wealth. And if today's conversation felt painfully familiar, please hear this carefully. It is not too late to change your direction. Not for Peter. Not for you. Your future is still responding to the choices you make now. Even small ones. Especially small ones. So breathe. Slowly. You do not need to fix your entire life tonight. You just need to stop pretending nothing is wrong. That's where healing begins. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this resonated deeply, share it with someone quietly carrying financial stress after 40. Subscribe and continue building peace with this community. And watch the next video because your future deserves more than survival. It deserves peace.